everyone, Grant K here for the Flame Premium Learning channel. This video series will go through the timeline effects redesign using the new Reactor 2.0 processing engine. We'll start off by covering what changed between versions, and then progress onto how you can use these tools in your workflow. Everything covered in this series will affect both Flame Premium artists and Smoke Advanced artists. As part of the application redesign, the timeline was given an overhaul that should improve your overall usability experience. So starting off, the original underlying processing engine of the timeline was replaced with the new optimized batch processing engine. This is called Reactor 2.0. The idea behind having a single processing pipeline is whether you're in the timeline, BFX, or batch, the environment is designed for image manipulation and composition. So certain compositing tasks may be easily accomplished in a layer-based workflow and others in a node-based workflow. You choose the workflow which best suits your needs. The underlying architecture is the same, and this makes these workflows completely interchangeable. So the timeline, BFX, and batch work at a 16-bit float point, and the results are fast and consistent throughout the core creative areas of Flame Premium and Smoke Advanced. Another big benefit is now you get instant feedback and results without having to render in the sequence. The other major change prompted by Reactor 2.0 is that when you build effects in the timeline, you are actually building a batch flow graph that is currently hidden from view. So the old soft effects were removed and replaced with batch nodes directly in the timeline. In the context of the timeline, the nodes are called timeline effects tools. However, if you use layer compositing in the sequence, the workflow of applying, adjusting, copying, and deleting should be familiar with the old soft effects workflow. These changes have allowed for some major improvements in the timeline usability and performance. The FX pipeline of the timeline is no longer locked, so you can rearrange your timeline effects in any order you choose, which was not possible in previous versions of Flame Premium and Smoke Advanced. Secondly, more creative tools have been made available at the timeline level without having to go into BFX or batch to perform simple tasks. Even action has been brought up to the timeline level that brings a host of functionality and creative tools. And as I mentioned before, you see your results instantly and no rendering is required while being creative. Finally, at any point, you can go into BFX and the flow graph will be revealed using the same tools as the timeline, and your results should look and perform consistently. Time was also taken to redesign the way alpha was handled in the timeline, so be sure not to miss the videos covering the changes and improvements. Before we move on to the next video, let's quickly run through the interface changes for those of you not using the current version. Previously, the soft effects tools were located in a fixed position to the left of the timeline. That section allowed you to gesturally apply effects, as well as monitor what was applied to a selected segment. This has been replaced with two new sections. Firstly, clicking this effects button or pressing Ctrl-Tab brings up the effects ribbon. For Smoke Advanced, you would press Shift-Tab for the effects ribbon. This floating window is aware of the cursor's location, so wherever you call up the effects ribbon, it will appear under the cursor. That means less pen movement to the left, and you stay focused on the timeline. Secondly, being a free-floating window, it can be expanded to accommodate more timeline effects tools as they get added. The second section is the effects pipeline that sits above the timeline. This gives you access to multiple functions within the selected segment. Firstly, you have access to the source's import settings directly in the timeline without having to re-import the media again. Secondly, the effects pipeline allows you to monitor what timeline effects are applied to a selected segment. Aesthetically, it is in your central line of view, making it clear and easy to see. And there is more room to add effects into the effects pipeline and move them around. The mini toolbar for any timeline effects will appear below the effects pipeline as before, with basic controls and entry point into the advanced editor. And finally, if you need a bit more space for your timeline and you're not using any of the effects tools, you can collapse the effects pipeline to see more timeline tracks. But as soon as you call up the effects ribbon and apply a timeline effects, the effects pipeline will uncollapse itself to allow you to start adjusting settings. Let's move on to the next video that will cover how to use the timeline effects workflow in the sequence. Comments, feedback and suggestions are always welcome and appreciated. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe to the Flame Premium Learning channel for future videos.